The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show. You can hear my show 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville. With me, as always, Mecca Musick. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people. Smart enough to be super excited about our guest that is coming up.
Excited.
So excited. Calm down. Greg Cochran will be with us. He is the executive director of the Alabama League of Municipalities. They got an event going on this week that we'll talk about, and we'll talk about what they do as a whole. Now, I've got a parting shot for you, and it references last week we were discussing what the biggest bill was. I've been reminded of something, and we'll talk about what that biggest bill of the legislative session was here in just a little bit. But right now, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning and get started. He cuts the best deals. He tells us all the time, and you know what? Maybe he does, actually. Maybe he does cut the best deals. I mean, since we talked last week, he made a deal with China, and the market seems to be rather happy about that. It looks like the fears of a recession seem to be going away. We were supposed to have out-of-control inflation. That doesn't seem to be the case. He goes to Saudi Arabia. Qatar gives him a plane, and then he signs all these deals, including the largest defense bill in American history with a foreign country. This is a huge deal, and I will tell you, Alabama is going to benefit greatly from that piece of legislation. We're going to see it. This is not where they get him. Okay, this was supposed to be one of those situations where the tariffs were the worst thing in the world, and the sky was going to fall. Energy prices down, egg prices down. Deal with China. Deal with the UK. Deal with Qatar, deal with Saudi Arabia. You have all these little pieces that are starting to come together. Now, is it beautiful art of the deal making, or is it I create chaos and then try to start resolving that?
Can it be both?
Yeah, I think
it can be both, because I honestly think it's a little bit or a lot of both.
I think it is.
It's just mashed together. Of particular interest, the China deal.
Yeah.
What is most interesting to me is they're both saying it was a victory. They're both claiming a victory.
Well, what are they going to do?
Well,
exactly. We sure got killed. That was terrible.
That's my point.
We're bad at this.
That's the point. That's the art of a great deal, where everybody feels like a winner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that obviously has been achieved. I mean, everyone's like, we won, let's go.
Oh, we downplayed significantly in the American media what was going on in China. They were having significant problems over there, and I think that's one of the reasons that brought them to the table here in order to get them to make that deal. Trump was fighting a media that was criticizing everything he does.
Well, not just the media. I mean, there were contingents.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is China doesn't have that problem.
Right.
Okay, all right. China doesn't have that problem. China can be like, no, this is how it is, and they can.
And it's great.
Yeah, and they can change the. Nothing happened here in Tiananmen Square. What are you talking about? I mean, they can say all those things, and there's no way for you to do anything. So they're saying they're winning, and there are people like, okay, thanks. I mean, that's how it works. But either way, I think this is a net positive all the way around. It did not. The end was not near as was predicted, and the deals are starting to come in. The idea was to be in a better position than when we started, and I think in that case he can claim victory.
There was a lot of chaos.
Right.
There was a lot of chaos.
But that's part of the deal.
That's part of
our deal. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about another deal that seems to be in the making for a big, beautiful bill. Now, this thing has some cuts in it. Tommy Tuberville wants more. That's what Tommy Tuberville was talking about. Democrats are telling you that Medicaid, Social Security, and Medicare are going to be cut, and you're going to have to eat your grandmother because things are going to get so bad, which is good because they don't have to give them Social Security. So these are the things that they are potentially discussing. Yes, it is terrible. And they are discussing these things, Mecca, but there is a big negotiation going on. And I will tell you, Mike Johnson is speaking, I think, in a way that is oddly pragmatic. He's like, everyone's not going to get what they want. It's none of this, we're going to decimate them, we're going to win, they're going to have to submit, none of that. He's just saying not everyone's going to be able to get what they want, but Tuberville's saying, I'm not voting for this unless this happens.
Right.
And to see the senior senator from Alabama saying that, it'll be interesting if he's able to hold to that.
I don't know, but I think it's part, maybe, we're talking about deals, deal making. I think it might be part of that.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want. Okay, fine, we'll do this.
Yeah, and that, I think that's true. And you have those conversations and those talks take place, and you sort of set out these positions knowing you're going to have to kind of claw back a little bit. And maybe that is what's going to happen. But there's a lot in this. Okay, there's a lot here. There's tax cuts they've been talking about that they want to make permanent. And then there's a bunch of cuts they also want to include to spending that is not related to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, but that's what Democrats are focused on, the cutting of the agencies that we've seen.
Well, that's a smart move. Why wouldn't they do that?
Well, right, of course.
Yeah,
I'm not
really
suggesting
smart.
it's. I'm not suggesting it's not smart.
And also, that's kind of risky. Like, if Tuberville's doing very smart in the way he's framing these cuts. Like, if we have these cuts to it, it's going to be like, illegals getting benefits and things like that. And that's the way it's going to need to be framed going forward.
I was asking, and for the Democrats, what is the penalty for them saying they're going to steal your Social Security? Because I've been hearing that since I was able to follow politics, and I don't think they stole my Social Security yet.
Not yet.
So they haven't done it. And on the same time, you have a potential talk of a small tax increase too. I mean, you're seeing some of that being thrown out there and people discussing that. So there's a lot. This thing could look very different than it is right now.
Yeah.
So the big, beautiful deal is getting done. Will they get it done before the deadline for tax cuts and all this other stuff? We'll have to see and stay tuned. All right, here's something else great happening for the state of Alabama. 4,700 jobs, 1,700 direct jobs, about 3,000 spinoff jobs. That's according to Congressman Dale Strong from the 5th Congressional District. We have the Air Force Secretary who has finally been confirmed, and the people in Colorado have to have sweaty palms, really sweaty palms, like back when she has to make a decision. Your hands get sweaty, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, and Colorado knows. I think they know that they are in big trouble. I think. Look, they didn't make a decision here like this, but essentially all their eggs were in the Biden camp, and then Biden, got on his little rascal and crashed his cart and broke all the eggs because they're in trouble. They're on this. They're going to lose that thing. And they
already lost by report. Sure. Do I need to get to that again?
Reality is very different.
It was, and it turned out to be different. This will be a correction. Truly, honestly, this will be a correction. Now, what's exciting is, when is it going to happen? Everybody, it is a lot of this. A lot of it. I've heard everything from, hey, it could be tomorrow. More likely, maybe a week or two, but it is coming.
Is there a show in Colorado right now going, those bastards in Alabama, they stole this from us. I can't believe that happened. This is absolutely outrageous.
No, and I followed the newspaper. I do. I read the newspapers there and everything like that online just to follow. And it's a lot. Well, it's like me, but the other side.
But the common sense thing has to really be that, like, again, this thing was put there.
It's like rooting for your team.
I know, I agree with that, but I'm saying but they have to accept that. Yeah. That they rooted for a team, they got on board, and then they lost. I mean, this is like in the Alabama legislature. Like, can we do historic horse racing? No, you can't do historic horse racing. What are you talking about? I mean, have some respect for your constituency, please. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I know you did. I know exactly. No, totally off topic, but you had to get it in. I get
the historic horse racing thing is the most insulting thing ever. Next to people in Colorado saying, no, wait, they're not going to get rid of it if Trump comes.
I understand it, though. I do understand it.
Yeah.
You got to still cheer for your team.
I would prefer that people not lie. I don't know.
Okay, that is fair, too.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. All right, lastly, let's talk a little bit about this drug executive order. I talked to a pharmacist this week, and I asked him, what I thought was a very simple question. What does this mean for Alabama? Well, the question's a little more complicated than all of that, because it's not just Alabama, and it's not as if the president can say, okay, your prices are now cheaper. If you look at the executive order, it basically says this: you guys should probably want to lower your prices a little bit in the United States of America. And if you don't, well, I got this agency, I've got this agency, and I got this agency, and maybe they'll start playing in your world. And now, I'm not here to tell you that that's going to work. Maybe it doesn't do anything, but I will tell you this, the people I talk to and the people I've read about what could potentially happen in Alabama, they think overall this is probably going to be a pretty good thing, and it will bring prices down just a little bit. I've asked the question that I can't really get a straight answer for. It's like, well, why are we paying this much more?
Like, why hasn't it been done before?
Right, well, no, not even that.
Oh.
why are we paying so much more? Why is Eliquis in this country like $2,700 for a month, and it's $65? I'm just gonna make this up in Italy or something. And you ask yourself, why is that? Like, and you look for directories, and that's not end user cost. That is the cost of the drug. And basically, you have all these people who say, well, look, we've decided we're not going to pay more than this. It's like, well, why are we doing this?
Well, and that's how Trump described it. He said this is going to equalize it.
Yeah.
Equalize. You know, he used that word, and I think that fairly describes what he wants to happen.
Are you telling me that in Italy they're coming up? I mean, if that's what equalize means.
I mean, we'll have to see. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's the next step, is to see where this is going and what it actually means. But it does have the potential, obviously, to have a huge impact. You know,
if it's successful in this, and it's funny how Trump has remade sort of the idea to what it is to be like a Republican, because even what we're going through here, you've got deal making with China on tariffs.
Yes.
You've got a big beautiful bill where they're talking slightly about some tax increases. You've got price controls, which is, for lack of a better term. And he has basically said, these are all raw deals. We've been playing with a bad hand, and he's coming and upset the cart. And then on the other side, Democrats are like, oh, we don't like those now. We're not a fan of those now. We're pretty upset about tariffs now, when before we were okay with them. And it's interesting to see how they handled the tax increase thing.
As far as this latest EO of the day, you know, as far as it could have potential to have a huge.
I don't think they've been very negative
impact.
about that. I don't think they're negative about that one at all. But when we come back, we'll move on. We'll talk a little bit with our next guest. Greg Cochran will be with us. We'll talk about some stuff going on with the Alabama League of Municipalities. Stay tuned. It's Alabama Politics This Week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Every year in Alabama, we miss out on between $65 and $90 million in tax revenue by not legalizing sports betting here in our state. Money that can be used to improve our roads and bridges, or elevate our school systems and support our first responders. Contact your legislator to ensure sports betting is legalized in Alabama. Learn more at betonalabama.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes, because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay, and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I'm Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Musick.
And this week we have Greg Cochran, Executive Director of the Alabama League of Municipalities. Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
Becca, thank you so much for having me here today.
All right, so if you've seen our show before, you know we're incredibly tough. I'm going to start out with a hard question. Tell me, what is it the Alabama League of Municipalities does?
Well, we represent 465 municipalities across the state of Alabama, from the smallest all the way to Huntsville, Alabama, ensuring that they have the proper resources and tools to build vibrant communities.
Now, earlier this week, Governor Ivey was here, and she was stressing the importance of local government in our daily lives. Tell me about that. What does that mean?
Well, local governments are the closest to the people. They build the infrastructure, they build the zoning and policies that affect our everyday lives. We say all the time that local governments are the foundation of our state's economy. It's where most businesses produce their goods and services. It's where most people live. Over 60% of Alabamians live in municipalities. So it's an important, vital part of our community, and we want to make sure that we're giving them the best tools and resources.
We've been covering Alabama politics for a very long time. You can look at the topics for this week and any other week. Whenever a municipality shows up on the list, they've done something. I mean, for lack of either something really good or something really bad. That's how you show up there. What you do, if I understand this correctly, is you represent all of them together. You're talking about
on the federal and state level, correct?
That is correct.
Right. But you're dealing with cities that are big like Birmingham and small like Oneonta. How do you bring those people together?
Well, it's interesting because there are common threads: economic development, community development, ensuring that communities have the resources that they need to build out infrastructure, water infrastructure, sewer, roads. So there's all these common threads that quality of life, vibrant communities, whether it is Oneonta or Birmingham or Huntsville, it's all really the same. It's what people want for their local community.
Do you feel like when you're discussing this, and like I said, you have those different sized cities, that all of them feel represented by that, or do they get dominated? What do they call themselves? The Big Ten?
Yeah.
The Big Ten mayors.
What did you call them?
It's cartel.
The cartel.
The mayoral cartel. But do they dominate the organization the same way they would dominate, normally because they're the big dogs?
We have a great relationship with the Big Ten. Mark Saliba, the mayor of Dothan, who's part of the Big Ten, is also our president this year. Our vice president is Sherry Sullivan, mayor of Fairhope. We do a very good job of balancing that out, looking at their needs to build metropolitan communities versus the rural communities, smaller communities, and what they need.
Now, this week is the 2025 annual convention. It's huge. It's amazing. Tell me about it. What's happening there?
Well, we brought about 1,200 folks into Huntsville, municipal officials, sponsors, exhibitors, selling their goods and services to communities. It's an awesome 3-day event. It gives us an opportunity to bring leadership training to our officials, to talk about what's happening on the state and federal level and how that impacts those communities. It just gives us a chance to share our story with our officials and opportunities like this to be with you today.
I've noticed that when you talk about stuff like this, it's what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And then you put these people together and they put them in a room and you have a conversation about things that work, and then you see them. Like, people will decry groups like Aaliyah or something like that when they, not Aaliyah, excuse me. But these larger groups that put together legislation and stuff like this. But you guys take positions on legislation. And how do you come up with that decision?
Well, we work with our communities to figure out what issues are impacting them and hindering them from building the vibrant communities that we all strive for. And we follow about 1,000 bills a session. We have a team of 4 lobbyists that work on the Hill every day. We work with the National League of Cities to ensure that our federal side is covered. And it's important, Dale, for us to look at each of those bills when it comes to taxation or business license authority, when it comes to putting in roads and infrastructure. How can we do that in an efficient way?
Now, the Alabama legislature is winding down. This week was the last day. What bills did you have your eye on?
Well, we had 2 bills in play that dealt with our business license authority, with vaping, also with these new mixed-use beverages that are in that they want to put on the shelves, ensuring that cities still had the opportunity to legislate those at the local level. But overall, we have a very good relationship with the legislature and with our governor, because the bigger picture is, how do we get all these resources combined into our communities?
Okay, so I was asleep on this one. If I understand this correctly, like, I don't want to say like the blue laws that we've had. Some cities still do. I'm not decrying them. You should have your right to say it. They want to have the right to do that as well, and say, okay, we're not going to have the THC, sodas or whatever we're doing. They want to be able to say they can't have those.
They do, or
I think it's fine, by the way.
regulate where they're sold.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
That
It's
part's
to
interesting.
ensure, because the state doesn't typically regulate it, the counties don't regulate, so that leaves it upon the city officials to regulate a zone, making sure that a beverage store is not by a church or a grade school. Those are the things that sometimes citizens forget, that we're kind of the last gatekeepers many times to setting those examples and those standards for the community.
So your group, no question about it, you guys understand that local government's very important. It's hard to get that message out to people, because a lot of people, the big stuff is, it's a lot easier to talk about what's going on with Donald Trump or what's happening in Montgomery as opposed to what's happening on Main Street. It's a lot harder. How do you reach out to constituents? Like, that's not your constituents, but the citizens of these cities.
We try to help our communities build narratives, stories, to remind them to tell that story to their citizens, that to repave 2 lanes of road, which isn't a topic that everybody wants to hear about, is over $1 million. And so it takes resources to do that. It takes tax dollars to do that, business license dollars to do that. And so many times when, as you point out, it's the more vibrant headlines that catch people's attentions instead of sitting at a city council meeting and hearing that from a council member or the mayor.
So if a city says, I'm just pick something out of thin air, we're going to take fluoride out of our water. Does that spread around the meeting? Was that a topic of conversation?
That is a huge one, because if you remember from the time we were children, fluoride was touted as being a good thing to be in our water.
Absolutely.
And of course now the season has changed on that. The attitudes have changed on that. And that started about a year ago. Really, we were in D.C., started hearing speakers talk about taking fluoride out of water. And it's for each community, though, to decide.
Well, Madison dipped their toe in it, and immediately I think their toe fell off because it seems like they're ready to backtrack. Anyone else jumping on board?
There's been about 4 or 5 cities that have communicated to us that they're looking at the legislation, looking at the opportunity to take it out of their water. It's very expensive, and it does cause some long-term havocs on the water infrastructure. But we need an alternative, right? If that's not going to be the way we deliver that to our citizens, and it's deemed to be needed, we need to find another way to do that.
We went a little long here, but I do appreciate you coming on here and joining with us. Thank you so much. Greg Cochran, he's the Executive Director of the Alabama League of Municipalities. Appreciate him being here. Mecca's leaving. Show gets better. I'll be back with a very short party shot on the other side.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Every year in Alabama, we miss out on between $65 and $90 million in tax revenue by not legalizing sports betting here in our state. Money that can be used to improve our roads and bridges, or elevate our school systems and support our first responders. Contact your legislator to ensure sports betting is legalized in Alabama. Learn more at betonalabama.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes, because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics this week. I'm Dale Jackson. I got a parting shot for you coming up here in just a second, but real quick, head over to yellowhammernews.com. Sign up for my email blast. You'll be glad you did when you get the 7 things you should be talking about today, every single morning, delivered to your email. That's yellowhammernews.com. All right, let's get to that parting shot. My party shot this week is directed at myself. Last week, we were having a conversation about what the most important bill in the legislative session was, and I got it wrong. State Senator Arthur Orr reminded me the most important bill was the Education Trust Fund bill, where they changed the way they do Education Trust Fund funding, at least partially. More money going to specific children who need their help, including gifted children, kids with special needs, English as a second language, kids who live in poverty. All of these things are better than the way we were doing it before, where it was just one size fits all. X amount of kids get X amount of dollars. That is not the way to do it. They also put more money into school choice, which I've always supported and I think is a great idea. So that, my friends, is the most important piece of legislation passed this legislative session, and that's they did a good job with that. Record Education Trust Fund budget, say what you will about that. It's too much money. Whatever. They're never going to put less in, folks. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics this week. Talk to you soon.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the US Med Diabetes Solutions Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. US Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. US Med. Better service. Better care.